J.K. Rowling, From Darkness to Light, the real magic behind the story. Long before she became one of the most successful authors in the world, Joanne Rowling, better known by her pen name J.K. Rowling, lived a life that many would describe as the very definition of struggle. Her journey from rock bottom to international stardom is not just about literary success, it's a powerful narrative of resilience, grit, and the courage to keep believing when no one else does. The beginning of the storm. Joanne Rowling was born in England in 1965 and grew up with a deep love for books and stories. From an early age, she was captivated by the world of imagination. She would often write short fantasy tales and read them to her sister. It was clear that storytelling was in her blood. But while childhood may have planted the seeds of her literary talent, adulthood would test her in ways she never anticipated. In her 20s, Rowling faced a series of personal and professional challenges that pushed her to the brink. After graduating from university, she took on various jobs, including working as a researcher and bilingual secretary. Yet, her dream of becoming a writer never faded. During a delayed train ride from Manchester to London in 1990, the idea for Harry Potter came to her. She envisioned a young boy attending a school of magic, unaware that this spark of inspiration would eventually change her life, and the lives of millions, forever. But the journey from that moment to publishing the first book would take 7 long years, filled with heartbreak, hardship, and a constant battle to survive. A life in shambles. Shortly after the initial idea for Harry Potter was born, Rowling suffered the devastating loss of her mother, who passed away after a long illness. This grief deeply influenced the emotional tone of the Harry Potter books, particularly the themes of loss and longing that echo throughout the series. Seeking a fresh start, Rowling moved to Portugal to teach English. There, she met and married a journalist. The marriage was short-lived, ending in separation just months after the birth of her daughter, Jessica. With nowhere else to turn, she returned to the UK and settled in Edinburgh, Scotland. Now a single mother, Rowling found herself facing a reality she could never have imagined: unemployed, nearly penniless, and relying on government welfare to survive. She battled severe depression and admits she was as close to hopelessness as a person could be without being homeless. She described herself as the biggest failure I knew. There were days when she could barely afford to heat her flat. Nights were filled with worry about feeding her daughter or paying the next bill. Yet through the exhaustion and despair, Rowling clung to one thing: writing. Writing through the darkness. It's hard to overstate how important writing became to Rowling during those years. It wasn't just a hobby or creative outlet, it was a lifeline. When everything else was falling apart, writing was the one thing she could control, the one thing that gave her a sense of purpose. In tiny cafes around Edinburgh, she would write while her daughter napped beside her in a stroller. Many people around her didn't know what she was working on. Few would have guessed that she was building an entire world, a magical universe that would eventually capture the hearts of millions. She wasn't writing for a paycheck. She didn't even know if it would ever be published. But she wrote because she had to, because it was the only way to keep going. In her words, rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life. The long road to yes. After years of effort, Rowling finally completed the manuscript for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. She sent it to multiple publishers, each time hoping someone would see its potential. What followed was a series of soul-crushing rejections. 12 publishers turned her down, telling her the story was too long, too strange, or simply unmarketable. Some even advised her to find a different career path entirely, one that could actually pay the bills. But Rowling did not give up. Her belief in the story, and in herself, kept her moving forward. Finally, on the 13th submission, something changed. A small London publishing house, Bloomsbury, decided to take a chance. The chairman's 8-year-old daughter read the first chapter and immediately asked for more. That moment, seemingly small and personal, became the turning point that would spark a global movement. Bloomsbury agreed to publish the book, but they still had doubts. They advised Rowling to get a day job because children's books don't make money. They printed just 500 copies, with only a few reaching bookstores. The rest were sent to libraries. But sometimes, all it takes is a crack of light to break through the darkness. The magic spreads. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was released in 1997 and quickly captured attention. Readers fell in love with the magical world of Hogwarts, the trio of Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and the rich themes of friendship, bravery, and the eternal battle between good and evil. The initial success snowballed into a cultural phenomenon. The sequels broke publishing records. Translations were made in over 80 languages. The book sold over 500 million copies, making them some of the best-selling novels of all time. The success of the Harry Potter series led to a blockbuster film franchise, theme parks, merchandise, and a global fan community. Rowling's creation was no longer just a book series, it had become a universe. From relying on welfare, she went on to become the first billionaire author in history. But she didn't stop there. Rowling used her wealth and influence to support multiple charities, launch her own foundation, Lumos, and speak out about mental health, poverty, and child welfare. A legacy beyond the page. What makes J.K. Rowling's story so remarkable isn't just the success of Harry Potter. It's the reminder that failure isn't the end. And that what feels like the lowest point might actually be the start of something incredible. She has said that failure stripped away everything inessential and allowed her to focus on what truly mattered. In one of her most famous speeches, she stated, "It is impossible to live without failing at something. Unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case, you fail by default." Her story has inspired countless people, writers, single parents, young dreamers, and anyone who's ever felt like giving up. She proved that talent alone isn't enough. What truly matters is the grit to persist, the courage to believe in your story, and the strength to keep going when the world says no. The real magic. At the heart of J.K. Rowling's story lies a simple but profound truth. You don't need magic to change your life. The strength you're looking for is already inside you. We do not need magic to transform our world. We carry all the power we need inside ourselves already. We have the power to imagine better. Her life is proof of this. Against all odds, through grief, depression, poverty, and rejection, she didn't give in. She wrote, she believed, and she persisted. And that, not wands or spells, is the real magic of J.K. Rowling. So, if you're facing rejection, failure, or darkness right now, remember this. The next page you write, the next chance you take, might just be the beginning of something the world has been waiting for.